Welcome to A Chef Called Rhonda. I'm Rhonda, and this isn't my kitchen, but yes, it's my preparation area. Today, I have a very extra and special treat. I'm going to be teaching you how to make the Italian Wandi cookie, also known as that fragile bow tie or Chiacchiere. So many names have been given to this delicate, shattery Wandi cookie. Wandi translates to glove in Italian. This cookie is super easy, super healthy, and super delicious to make. Let's grab our trusty wooden spoons while I teach you how to make Italian Wandies. I just want to go over the recipe for the Wandi dough. First and foremost, it's all about the ingredients being at room temperature. In an effort to save time, I've already sifted my dry ingredients. So within this bowl, I have sifted 3½ cups of all-purpose flour, a 1/4 teaspoon of good quality salt, a 1/4 cup of traditional white granulated sugar, and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And I sifted. We will need 4 ounces of softened butter, room temperature eggs. Can you see that? The Wandi recipes call for lemon zest or orange zest. And today I chose to use fresh lemon zest from the lemon tree outside. Chunky zest. Be specific in your measurements here. 8 ounces of room temperature white vino. To my large preparation bowl, I will turn out my dry ingredients. Using my trusty wooden spoon, I will just make a well. After I've made my well with my dry ingredients, it's time to add our room temperature eggs. One at a time, slowly. Yolk. And I'm just going to start to mix our eggs gently and start to turn. The dough is very forgiving. I forgot to mention, I also have about a 1/2 teaspoon of good quality anise extract. The mixture should resemble a shaggy texture. And now I'm going to create that well yet again. Add our softened butter, and that's 4 ounces of butter. And I'm turning using the back edge of our trusty wooden spoon. Add our 8 ounces of wine. I like to use 2 spoons as I work. The wine flour mixture. About 250 strokes until incorporated. Now I'm going to add our anise, and next my lemon zest. Now the lemon zest just adds a little bit of a punch here. You need to add a bit more flour. If you see it pulling together but yet it's still a little bit wet, you can add 1 tablespoon at a time. Can you see that? That is the beginning of the Wandi dough. So once we have turned out our dough onto our work surface, a little bit of reserved all-purpose flour here, and I will flour my hands quite nicely. And I'm just going to start to turn that dough into quarter folds, if you will, and it should start to turn out to be a smooth ball. Light and airy, that's, all right, and there you have it. That's our beginnings of our Wandi dough. We're just going to place our bowl on top. Okay, we're back in the preparation area. It's been about 45 minutes or so. It's time to uncover our Wandi dough. And remember, if you need to add a little bit of flour moving forward, go ahead and do so. Well, it looks like it came together quite nicely. Use my pastry cutter, and I'm going to cut a piece, and that's exactly how it should look. And I'll bring it up close so that you can see the air bubbles. You have nice little air pockets. Be certain to have your cutting board or your preparation area well floured. We will take the pastry cutter and we will start in small sections. So I will take the remains of the dough here in our bowl, in the preparation bowl, and we'll need a few things. A pastry cutter, or in this instance, I purchased a ravioli cutter, and it should look like so. A rolling pin, and you'll need some reserve flour for the next step in the process to making our Wandi. Place some flour on our rolling. I'm using a French rolling pin here, but whatever you have will certainly do. And if you have a pasta machine, you can do that as well. Now the idea here, when we're making Wandies, it's a very thin dough. This dough will stretch back, and you will need to resurface flour onto your cutting board. That's perfectly fine. With the pastry cutter, you're just cutting little sections at a time, because you will see once this dough starts to thin out, we are then going to cut using our pastry cutter into rectangles. I'm going to show you how to cut the first Wandi. So I'm going to take my pastry cutter and I'm going to go down the middle like so. And then I'm going to cross cut into rectangles, like so. I'm going to take my pastry cutter again and make a little incision in the center of each rectangle. And thus we're creating that bow tie, also known as a Wandi, in preparation for frying it. I rolled out my dough very, very thin. You can see the specks of lemon zest, you can smell the anise, but most importantly, you can see the ridge going down the center, utilizing that first lengthwise cut using our pastry cutter, and then I went crosswise making rectangles. And then to pick up the first Wandi, I will show you the incision and how to tie the bow or make the bow tie. Okay, here we are. That is our first beginning of Wandi. To pull through one side like so, making the bow tie. Separate center cut, and I pull through the bottom corner or one side like so, forming a bow tie. Through the center and ever so gently pull and place it on my cutting board. My rectangle has that little cut in the center. I'm going to take one end and pull it through like so, thus creating a Wandi. Okay, so I have a little platter here that I've lined with parchment paper, and I'm just going to place our already prepared Wandis here and do the same exact thing until the dough is no longer. So thinly, and we will continue to make our Wandis. And the next step is to move over to the kitchen area where our oil is nice and hot. Okay, welcome into the kitchen where I have about 3 cups of vegetable oil heated well right up to about 365 degrees. I'm placing 4 or 5 Wandis into the already preheated hot oil, and I'm going to let each one sit for about a half minute until golden brown on one side before turning with my set of tongs. Duly noted in the foreground, you can see I have 2 baking sheets lined with cloth mappinas so that when I remove the Wandi from the oil, I will allow them to drain nicely onto the baking sheet. And I will continue this process. My family does enjoy a bit thicker Wandi, so my Wandis will vary in thickness. I want to make mention though, I did let them drain on a mappina lined regular cookie sheet, something nice and flat so that all the oil can soak through, of varying sizes. I have some very, very thin bow ties, and you can see that. Can you make them very pretty and very Christmas-like? Sugar them. Now I did allow them to cool on the cookie sheets or on the mappina for about 15, maybe 25 minutes. Sugar remains, and it looks very, very dainty and very, very pretty. If you haven't already subscribed to A Chef Called Rhonda, please would you consider subscribing to A Chef Called Rhonda if you haven't already done so. It's always healthy, always delicious, and always fun. And today I hope you enjoyed making Italian Wandis. Pretty? I'll meet you back in the kitchen for that nice taste. Yeah, finito with our Italian Wandi cookies, and look at all of the Wandis that this recipe made. I'll bring it up nice and close. It looks so pretty, right? So delicate and so fine. Nice taste test of our Italian Wandi. You can taste the anise and slightly a bit of lemon, and it just melts in your mouth, nice and thin and crisp. Oh, such a nice flavor with a cup of coffee. Here's to you. Here's to our Italian Wandi recipe. I want to say many, many thanks. Thank you for watching today's cooking show. If you haven't subscribed to A Chef Called Rhonda, please would you consider doing so. It's always healthy, always delicious, and always fun. Our Italian Wandis. Can you see that? Can you see that? Italian Wandis. Perfectly golden brown, covered in powdered sugar. From my kitchen to yours, I bid you Jindan, farewell, salute, arrivederci, mangia, perfecto. Italian Wandies.